Hej Anna! Vi kommer att ha på mute här.
Welcome, everybody. We will start with today's lesson and meditate 1 minute. I am as God created me. Welcome back. And welcome, Lisa Natoli. I will put you in spotlight together with me. Let's see if I can find it.
Right here?
Yes, there you are. And let's see. And here I am.
Yay!
Yay. Oh, it's so good to see you again. It's been a couple of years since
It has been, yeah. I'm thrilled to be here.
You have long hair now. I remember you
Well,
had
my hair is a funny thing. I since I was a teenager, I chop it off, shave it off, short. I love short like yours. Then I grow it all out. And the reason I grow it out, mostly, is so I can do this. Let's see. Top of the head.
Yeah, that's nice. Then it's short again.
And now it's short again, and I can, yeah, I went long. It actually takes a lot of work, but I play with it and I have fun. I just kind of down, up, who cares?
It's beautiful.
You're beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. So I I did a 40-day course, yours twice actually, and we spoke a couple of times before, and now today you're going to speak about the mind and body connection in healing. That is so interesting, and I know that you have experience of being sick and being healed. Can you tell us a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just thrilled to be here. And it's just been such an interesting journey. I'm in a hotel right now. I sent out an email just now to my mailing list. So those of you that are here, welcome. Yeah, my dad, he got rushed to the hospital on Tuesday. So it was such an interesting thing because it came out of the blue. And without any planning, I found myself just like packing a bag and clearing the decks for the next 3 days, and realizing I had Marriott points, so the hotel's been free, and just been visiting them every day, and I think this is actually a really good place to start rather than telling my backstory, which many people have heard, and I can definitely go into that. I'm happy to do that, but the mind-body approach to healing that's a good example of what happened this week, because so many things in life are just happening. We can't control it. We cannot control these bodies, the phone ringing, the news, nothing. It's just, you're just la 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 having your day, and you get a phone call, or suddenly there's some issue with the body, or so. It's just how it goes. And as people on a spiritual path, and especially A Course in Miracles, while it's true that this is all an illusion, like that's just one of those quotes that many people say, it's an illusion, it's not real, we're dreaming, all the typical things that is true. Those are true statements. But when you're in the situation, and having been on A Course in Miracle path for 30 years, and it's a practice that I absolutely love, I found myself after 25 years, it was from like 1992 to 2018, of absolute 100% commitment to practicing. I mean, I was just one of those people that's like, I just want to, forgive and let go, and let go of my grievances, and heal my mind. And I found that I was having more and more happiness, but it never stuck. I kept losing it. I like glimpse it, and then back into conflict, and then peace for a little bit, a couple minutes, like half a day, and then back to doubt and worry and conflict. And then I got physically sick in 2013. So in 2018, after endless, it's not real, it's an illusion, I was like, this isn't working. And so I really started looking at Advaita Vedanta and the non-dual path because of my husband, Bill Free. And that whole approach is really about being present in the moment, in the body, in the emotions, coming directly into whatever is arising in your experience. And the last few years have been about that. It's really been not trying to heal the body anymore, just being so present to the pain, the physical symptoms, the thoughts that were arising around it. And slowly, and for some people, it can happen immediate. There's this shift, which A Course in Miracles does talk about, this shift from body identification, and it calls it bodily identification, and it uses that term many, many times. But that sickness is that I have identified myself as a body, and I think the body is me, and now the body is in charge. But I'm not a body. I am spirit, I am presence. And so there's this shift from the bodily identification into the recognition of what I really am. So lesson 136, sickness is a defense against the truth. I will accept the truth of what I am and let my mind be wholly healed today. And I've been on 25 years, I did that lesson, 25 years of doing the workbook lessons every single year, all 365. And it was all conceptual, see, because it was all still in the mind. So in 2018, when I began looking at the non-dual Advaita Vedanta teachings, it kind of removed Jesus and Holy Spirit and God out of the picture for that kind of language. It was, and that's where I was getting stuck, because I kept feeling like that there's a God for sure. There's a power greater than myself, and there's a Jesus, and there's a Holy Spirit, and they're helping me. But that's two. That's still believing that there's a me, which is a bodily identity, and a something else that will heal this bodily identity the way the bodily identity wants it to go down. So in 2018, the practice of welcoming was introduced to me, of welcoming everything exactly as it is. Because when we welcome, and welcoming is it's a funny thing, because so many people, they get real stuck on that one, because they like, I can't welcome this cancer, I can't welcome this pain, I can't. It's a welcoming of just allow. It actually is, for me, it's a courageous path, because I want to see everybody here. How can I, let me see, do I have a view gallery? I want to see everybody. Hi everybody. Yay. Okay, I want to ask you, because I want to see a raise of hands. That's why I wanted to see your screens. How many of you really would like to take a journey to know yourself as pure consciousness and pure love and pure presence? Like, not just as a concept, but to actually say, I would like to know what that is, right? So all the hands go up. And when I did that, after 6 years of trying everything to heal the body, Western medicine, conventional, pills, no pills, diet, homeopath, naturopath, I mean, the spiritual path, healing the mind, healing my grievances, I mean, blah, blah, on, and nothing working, right? And it was really logical for me when it happened, because I'd been for about 6 years, 2013 to 2018, pretty much all those years spent attacking myself inside, bullying myself, criticizing myself, thinking I'm a failure, thinking that I'm weak, thinking I'm gonna die. And it was the day before my 50th birthday. My birthday is May 2nd, and it was May 1st. And I always like to give myself something on my birthday. I don't like to make a big deal of birthdays, but I always like to have a cake and buy myself a cake, if, get what I want. And I thought, what do I want this year for my 50th birthday? And what I really wanted was to not be a sick person anymore. I wanted to stop with the Googling symptoms and stop thinking I'm sick. And I wanted to live. Like, I wanted to be happy. I was like, I'm so done with all these diets and feeling like I'm not supposed to eat that. And why am I sick? And why did I cause this? And what is this for? And oh, now what? And I just wanted to be happy. I was like, you know what? I just spent most of my 40s fighting myself, at war with myself inside. I'm done with that. I'm just done. And I don't care if the symptoms never go away. I don't care if the pain never goes away. I want to live. I want to, I just, that's it. I want to, whatever remaining time I have left, I want to be happy. And that set me on this path of, well, the mind-body approach is where I began to see that those thoughts and the war and the bullying and the criticism was the sickness. That was the sickness, that real sickness. And I saw that I could heal that. That I saw. Like I saw like, oh, okay. Like it was so normal. Like it was just, it didn't happen overnight. It didn't, these patterns are deep rooted. And I just started looking into the non-dual approach. And what's interesting is that we all think I have thoughts. I have a body. I'm not a body, but I'm spirit, but I have a body, and that I have a mind, and that I have thoughts and feelings and emotions and habits and likes and dislikes, and but I'm not a body, but I have this experience of all that mind activity and body activity. In welcoming, when you no longer have your attention on fixing, changing, improving, or altering what is arising in your experience, because whatever is arising is in our experience is not an accident. It's coming up, it's here, something to look at. But what we do as bodies, as people, as the personal self-identity, is something arises and the mind immediately goes, I don't like this. And we also have memory. So we have a memory of another experience that we've had before, where we had health, we had money, so we're always in comparison. So when I began to simply rest in this present moment, I invite everyone to just take a deep breath. I always invite everyone to feel your feet. And if you don't have feet, and feel you're sitting on the chair, just come really into the body. It can be helpful to close the eyes, but it's absolutely not necessary, because even with the eyes open, there's still awareness. So is everyone aware of the chair you're sitting on, or the floor under your feet? There's something that's aware of the experience always. And that which is aware of the experience is what we are. And yet we're not trained in this. We're not trained to be so present in this very holy moment, the only moment there ever is. And in this moment, that which is aware has no pain and isn't sick. And that's not a concept. It was a very real experience where the identification moves from the focus on the body. So the reason for me, the coming back into the body first is important. So everyone can open your eyes now. Is mostly we live in our heads. Especially if you're on a spiritual path, we live out in la la land, the past, the future, thinking, planning, worrying. And if I asked you to find your feet in that moment, you'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, right. The rug is, yeah, it's kind of cool. It's kind of like against my feet. Oh yeah, this chair, like, oh yeah. So you kind of, for me, it was this grounding myself back into the body, where I was no longer saying it's an illusion. I am allowing every emotion to now arise in me without trying to get rid of it. So when I started to allow that, the symptoms got way worse. Like it was just like, for a while, it was just like so much fear. I went back to old habits, Googling symptoms and doing the supplements again, and I'd throw them away and buy them again. And so it wasn't like this totally like snap my fingers and there I was. It was really this process of seeing that I am pure consciousness, that I am the totality of all that is, and that is our true nature. and that all the bodies and the worlds and the thoughts and the feelings and the emotions and the sensations are arising and disappearing in me, I, not me, Lisa, I. So there's a shift that, and it can happen with A Course in Miracles. It's all there, but I wasn't getting it. And so like with my dad, I got the phone call this week. It's the same thing. It's just like this, his emotions come up, it's like, he's fine right now, but he could go any minute. It's hard to say. Like any one of us can go any minute, or we could live for 10 more, 20 more, 30 more years, whatever. But it's like this new way of living in the world. And it's been the most miraculous week. It's been the most joyful week. I've been in communication with my sisters and long phone calls with everybody. It's just like, and I never imagined I'd be in this role, of like kind of being there for my dad, and my sisters aren't here, so I'm like I'm the communication link, and it's just so interesting to see how this, when you start living in wholeness and you're living as presence and you're living so much here, like just present. And I had a lot of things on my calendar. Like I found myself on Tuesday when I got the phone call, I was like, okay. Like I was going to buy soup. I was on my way to get soup at this bakery that I really love, and they often don't make the soup I like, but I check the website every day, and on the day they have the soups, I like rush down to the bakery to stock up, and I'm driving the opposite direction. And I'm like, I stopped and put the money, to park the car. And I found myself canceling my event for the next day. I just was texting. I was like, okay. So I was like, okay, I'm going up for one night. And then I drove home, got the soup, drove home. And I just suddenly was packing my bag. I'm packing a suitcase, checking to see if I have Marriott points. Oh, on the way home from the soup, I stopped to get gas. I filled up my gas tank. So I was like, oh, I guess I'm going on a road trip. So it was like no planning involved. It was just like this open spaciousness. And my dad's telling me, don't come. My dad's, and that's classic my dad. Like he's dying, or what, he could be like, so I'm fine. But I knew he wasn't. Like I knew if he's on the way to the hospital. And then every day I'm just not making a plan. And then I've been booking the hotel, and I found myself canceling my events for the night. I knew I wasn't going to cancel you because I already canceled once with that snowstorm where we lost power 2 weeks ago. But I was like, yeah, even that's going to be cool because I'll just set, I got my computer on a stack of books right now. And, and so like, this is the most joyful experience for all of us, because it's not that things disappear. It's that you are now so present that any suffering or disturbance doesn't touch you. And if it does touch you, because it hasn't been like just like flowing week, there's been some bumps along the way with just different family members and decisions to be made and that kind of stuff. And I'm the middle. So the disturbance kind of comes through me. And the mind body approach is that we stay so present. Bill taught me always, put my hand on my heart, just kind of come back in right here. We come back, we pause, and the disturbance it's there, and you're not trying to fix it, change it, improve it, alter it, understand it. but there's this memory. I am pure presence. I am pure love in this situation. And then you can use Course in Miracles. I'm here only to be truly helpful. I don't have to think about what to do or what to say, all that amazing things. And it's been a miraculous week. And so that's what I want to offer, because this is so, it's an invitation for people to really get in touch with your thoughts, feelings, emotions, and realize they're not your thoughts and they're not your emotions. They're not your sensations. It's just activity arising in pure consciousness, your true nature. And if you don't touch it, if you don't touch that thought, I don't like this, why is this happening? If you just allow the thought to arise, I don't like this pain, you're just allowing it to be right there, full force. Allow it to just be, and you stay as awareness, pure presence. It can't stay in that light. It will disappear. You won't be disturbed anymore. Pain won't be bothering you. And so.
Yes, and I'm thinking, I don't know how to ask this question, but it's like, I want the result of a healthy body, and if you could speak to the course says that it's the sickness is in the mind, and the mind will be healed, and then the body will be used as a communication device. And it doesn't matter if it looks like it has a broken leg or cancer. It can still be a communication device. But still, I want the result of a healthy, strong body.
Yeah.
And expecting that and practicing the mind and body approach to healing.
Right. Yeah. So that's the first place where you would allow that thought to arise. And there's an awareness of that thought. I'd like a healthy body. And there's no judgment. It's just there's a thought that's arising. And then to whom is that thought arising? I'm asking.
Yeah.
To whom does that thought arise?
That is to me identifying as a body, because I believe that I need a
exactly
healthy and strong body.
Yeah, and there's no judgment to that. It's just allowing, okay, that's an ego goal, no judgment, because it's just we want to see these things. We want to, and of course, we all want like a strong body and no pain, and we all, of course, we want those things, and that's totally fine. But until we can see the mind activity, it's just the mind in a vicious circle of now trying to take what I'm saying to use it for its own purposes, to have a healed, healthy body, and it's the happy dream. And so that's where like there has to be a complete letting go of any outcome. Like it's just like, okay, yes, I would love that, but not at the expense of happiness. So and what happened for me when I started looking at the Advaita Vedanta teachings, what I did not understand is that, because the Course in Miracles says that there's the body and the mind. The body needs no healing. Only the mind that thinks it's a body is in need of healing. And when the mind is healed, the body is healed. Well, the thing that kind of got left out of A Course in Miracles equation is consciousness. So A Course in Miracles uses the word consciousness as the realm of the ego. That's the worldly description of consciousness. The worldly description of consciousness is that there's levels of consciousness. It's like all that David Hawkins stuff. It's like low level consciousness, depression, sadness, despair. the turning point, courage. Then you've got higher levels of consciousness, joy and gratitude and whatever. That is still within the realm of the body-mind identification. So when I started looking at the teachings of Advaita Vedanta, there's consciousness. And consciousness is like this one word for the eternal changelessness that we are. You can call it God, presence, I am, life, light. It is that which has no name. It is that which was never born and never dies. It's changeless. It's our nature. This is what we are. We were never born. We were never born into a body, and we never die. We live forever. And so what happened when I started looking at this is, like, if anyone's looking at my screen, I've sort of got my hands in this ball, like consciousness can't be contained. It's just not, it doesn't have a space. It's timeless. It's not contained at all. But for purposes of description, visualization, I'll just use a ball, like consciousness. And within consciousness is the body mind. So it's actually consciousness that is affecting the mind. And then, so that's kind of but what happens with spiritual practice, especially with A Course in Miracles, I have found, we stay rooted as the body identification and try to heal the mind. And I hope that distinction and that's where we get stuck. Because once there's like, I rest in God is probably my favorite lesson, because that's where the whole thing happens. Like, when I rest in God, God is consciousness. God is pure presence. God is I am. God is I. I am I. That's what we are. That's our reality. And when I rest in consciousness, I rest in God. I'm resting from all those attack thoughts, resting from the criticism, resting from the bullying, resting from all the planning for how am I going to heal this and do this. Just resting in this openness, and I guarantee every single one of you will feel peace. You may have felt it in that moment. It's just this moment of like, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to think about anything. I don't have to plan anything. I don't have to do anything. Just for this moment, this holy of holiest instance, I just can rest. And then there's an awareness that even though this awareness was always here, like I tell a story I call the dinner table story. And the worst physical symptoms ever, the worst physical pain ever. And Bill and I are at the dinner table, and I'm keeping my eyes open and trying to be normal and trying to act like I'm fine. And I'm in so much pain. And Bill's sitting across the table from me. He's like, "Why are you struggling? Close your eyes." I'm like, "Right now?" He goes, "Yeah, I don't need your eyes open to have dinner. Just relax." And so I was like, "Oh, okay." And so I closed my eyes, and it was like, boom. There was this instant, like I could and you don't need to do it. You don't need to close your eyes. But the part that's important sort of in this approach or equation is the shift into resting, the shift out of, I hurt, I don't like this, oh my God, I can't wait till dinner's over so I can go lay down. Oh my God, I'm so sick. That's total like agitation of the mind. And that agitation in the mind agitates the body. So when you look at, like, I'm a heart math certified trainer also, because when all of this was happening, I wanted to know the science. I was like, okay, there must be a science to this. Like, and there is, that when we rest and we can see the agitation There's the worry, the fear, the fighting. We're fighting. We're trying to just working it so hard to be happy and to heal and fight mode. And when we just rest, become aware of the chair, the body, this peace just starts to come over you. And that's exactly what happened. Like in the moment I shut my eyes, it was like, oh, whew. It was instant relaxation. And the pain wasn't there. I was aware that the fork was a little bit cool, like that it was heavy. I was like, oh, we're not even aware of like how heavy the fork is when we're eating, right? We're not aware of like the water when we do the dishes and the soapiness of like when we're washing the pots and the pans and the floor and the sound of the cat and the sound of the dog and the sound of the traffic. So there's this awareness shifts its attention from the body and the mind into open spaciousness. It's just like, so this was all through my own experimentation. It was just like, it was my own healing lab where for those moments, so you ask, how can I have a strong body and how can I use this, however you said it, I was healed. There were no symptoms and there was no pain. And I and then Bill would say, hey, the symptoms would like clear up. They were visible symptoms and they would clear up. And Bill would say, what are you doing? How did you do that? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I just lay down on the floor for a second and just the bed or the chair, wherever I was, it was just, oh, okay. And like, I just stopped attacking myself for an instant. I stopped fighting. And I wasn't trying to heal anymore. That was the important part. Of course, I wanted to. And then the symptoms did start getting less and less and less. And then the pain disappeared. And then the vomiting disappeared. And there was this physical part of it where it seemed gradual. But I invite everyone who's listening to this today to actually see in moments when you feel so weak, I can't even lift my leg out of this bed. And I was there. That was me. I was weak. I was frail. I was powerless. I was hopeless. And I just was like, I have no energy. That's the mind. That's all mind. Consciousness is the strength of God. It's the power of God. It's the presence of God. And so like if you took like a simple practical thing, let's say you're laying in bed this morning, you've been sick for a while, you've pain. I just can't face another day. I can't get out of this bed. I can't lift my arms. I'm so weak. If you were quiet, just resting for a minute, and you were to allow yourself to be aware of God, of just spaceless space, just being aware of life, being aware this power, this holiness, this innocence. I mean, all these ways the Course in Miracles describes it. You would feel the strength of God. I guarantee it. I guarantee each and every one of you would feel a strength. It would be like, okay, yeah, I could walk over there across that room. Oh, I could do that. I could do that. So it's just this total shift where you're not buying into the mind story anymore. That's the mind. The mind wants you to keep believing your body, and it wants you to stay weak and frail and powerless. It does not want you to see what it's doing. So when you start to really see the activity, it's like, you are not driving this car anymore. Give me the keys to the bus. You are no longer in the driver's seat, and you're not letting the mind drive the bus. It's like, I'm so sick. I can't. Well, I could if I wanted to. So you have to really be in the mind and the body to start to see the mind activity and bust it. Say, if I wanted to go to that party, I could, but their mind is like, oh, so sick. So we have an excuse. We all have excuses in sickness to get out of the stuff we don't want to do. And so, yeah, that would be like the first thing, is to become aware of, like, okay, who's asking the question? Who wants the healing?
Yeah, and the shift in identity. I hear you
Yeah.
speaking about the shift in identity that comes when I rest in God. Yeah. Thank you. How about opening it up for questions? What do you think?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So you can ask questions by raising your hand and waving it. I will scroll through and give you the floor, and you can also use the hand which is in the bottom of the Zoom window. First out is Harald. I will put you in.
Yes, thank you so much, Lisa, for your story and information. It's fantastic to hear. And I just have one question that arised while I was hearing you speak. I read the Nisargadatta, as I'm sure you've heard of course. Nisargadatta.
What's the question?
The question is, I've been thinking about that myself, because his body died of cancer due to smoking.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been trying to grasp why he let it do that.
So you're trying to grasp, like, why he died of smoking and cancer?
I remember I read in his book, I Am That, and that he got a question from one of his visitors. Why are you smoking? And he answered, well, I'm letting the body smoke until it dies. Don't see any harm in that. So my interpretation is that he kind of just left his body before he died, and he just let it. I don't know.
Yeah, so that's
You have a
this
comment?
is where, like, the realizations I began to have through the teachings of Advaita Vedanta. I was reading Jean Klein, who's kind of my number one teacher. His teacher, Atmananda Krishnamenon, is that no one leaves the body and goes somewhere else. There's just consciousness, and that's what we are. So the body is within, it arises in pure consciousness, and maybe it appears for a while, whatever the span of life we have here, and then it disappears. And it actually, quantum science has already proved that these bodies appear and disappear numerous, probably hundreds times a day right now, that we flash out and flash in. But because we're so used to identifying ourselves as a body, we have this linear continuity where we don't realize, oh, actually I was healed, or when we sleep. And so that's where this is a radical teaching, because no one dies. No one dies. But the body appears and disappears. There's that experience, but we all know it. When our family members or friends pass away, we're all like, yeah, they're in a better place. They're here. We know no one dies, because we're pure consciousness. And at the same time, this consciousness is pure intelligence. It is intelligent. And so when we get these prompts, like, I really probably should quit smoking. I probably should change my diet a little bit. So But the body identity is so hell-bent on its habits that even when we get, so let's just use smoking as an example, because that's, that one has typically pretty obvious physical symptoms. There's coughing and there's lung problems and all of that. And then there's this thought, I really would like to quit smoking. But then it's the body's like, oh, I love that cigarette. We could use this for anything, alcohol, anything. So in a welcoming and like the mind body approach, to see, because this can only be for you. Don't think about other people and what they're doing. This is only for each and every one of us to investigate if this body is having physical symptoms, there's something for me to look at. There's something, it's like when we're driving in our car and the gas light goes on, there's a red light that tells us we're low on gas. There's not a single one of us in this room that would ever say it's an illusion, it's not real. We all pull that car into the gas station and put gas in the car. But when it comes to these bodies, we're like, oh, it's not real. It's an illusion. I'm not. No, it's the same thing. It's like, let's look at it. Let's see, like, what's consciousness saying, so to speak. And am I making these changes? Am I going in this direction? Hope that's helpful.
Do you feel content with that, Harald?
Yeah, I have one more question also, if it's okay.
Yeah.
That's about me.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to spend so much time on it, so you can just answer all the questions as well, of course. And well, I had a massive stroke in 2015. I was paralyzed in my left side, and I recovered a lot, but not 100%. And a week ago or so, during my meditation, I don't think it was the ego I, but you never know. Asked God, when will I be healed? When will I be completely functional again in the left side? And I got an answer, which you can't be completely sure it was not just the ego or some kind of fantasy, but the voice said in 2 months, it said, but I don't know,
Yeah, that's definitely ego, that part. But the first question is, when will I be healed? That's a true question. That part is like, when will I be healed? And if it has to do with body healing, absolutely it's the body identity. That's all there is to that, because consciousness doesn't care. It is already whole. And I know this sounds like a concept, but you are healed now. What you are is shining. It's perfect. It's complete. You're healed and whole. And the more that you can identify with that, your true nature, that which is shining, forget about the body. But if there's anything there, if something like arises as maybe something that might be helpful, be aware of it. If suddenly there's like this thought, oh, I should have a physical therapist, or maybe go to the gym, or maybe this, or maybe whatever. But if something arises, stay aware and alert to it, like just to see, but keep coming back to that you are healed. When is the healing? It's now. It's now. And for you to accept your healing, to accept that what you really are is you're not a body. You're not the left side. You're not the right side. You're perfect whole light, shining, pure peace. And that the more that you can identify with that, the happier you will be, the more peace you will experience. What the body does or doesn't do, it won't concern you anymore. So when the physical started changing for me, I didn't even care anymore because I had already mission accomplished. It was like, oh, I'm already in peace and I'm already happy. I love one of my favorite lines on health in A Course in Miracles is health is inner peace. So sickness is that agitation that we feel like, when's the body going to be healed? And how am I going to, oh my God, left side's not working, right side's not working, leg's not working. And the fear of like, will it happen again? Will I have another stroke? Oh my God, I'll probably end up in the hospital. I don't have insurance. Like the mind is just this busy, agitated thing. And when we can rest, then you feel this peace and joy. It's just like, oh, okay, mission accomplished. I am healed. I am whole.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Harald. And next one is Angelina.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi. Yeah, see.
I recognize you from
So,
somewhere.
yeah, well, Facebook, I guess. I'm so happy to see you. And it's like, it's amazing because I was just on the computer and I just saw the email. It's like, oh, in 5 minutes? So that was like the interview. And when you said about that you changed your attitude on first a day before your birthday, 50th birthday, I almost felt like this was like for me, this is a whole interview because because I'm gonna be 50 in 2 months.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it really feels kind of synchronistic, this whole thing, because I've been dealing exactly with that, like what you said. I just want to be happy. I just want to feel healed. And like for me, I've always dealt like I was most of my life healthy, and then but I had a lot of emotional stuff. Like I was an emotional wreck. I mean, from home, from childhood. And I did a lot of emotional work. And the last few years, it's like it started coming with physical symptoms. And I totally didn't like it. Or maybe my ego didn't like it, like, hey, 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 whoa, whoa, whoa. You can touch my emotions. I know how to deal with that, but don't touch the body, you know? So some of them were very weird, like in the last few years. And some just shifted on their own, just like kind of disappeared. And then, yeah, for the last few years, they seem to be around this area, kind of they love it. I don't know, around like somewhere from here to like lately more dental stuff, like lately for a long time already. And what I realize, to me, where it hooks me is in the feeling of helplessness and limitation. The poor me, poor limited me. And then like, oh, then I can't do anything. It's like an excuse, like you said, like, so I can't shine my light in the world. I can't be in a loving relationship. Like I can't, it's kind of an excuse I can keep on hiding.
Yep.
And I do think kind of the area of the mouth is symbolic. I can see why, at least I'm very bothered about that, because many people have dental issues and they're not so bothered about it, or it doesn't last. you know.
So you want to, and what you're saying, I really is my story, and I'm sure a lot of people can connect with it. Is like you said it, is if everybody can really investigate, kind of, if you can look at like, okay, what has happened, if you go to the timeline of it, something was happening in mind before it showed up in the body. So we hold grievances. I don't like doing this job. It's like consciousness is forever this open spaciousness, which is spaceless. It's hard to describe. It's movement, it's energy, it's life, it's aliveness. It's just like this alive thing, And here we are in, like you said, a little box, a limited. We hold ourselves in a position. I call it, like, I've created 5 courses based on like everything I'm talking about today on my website. Is I call it a location, where we hold ourselves in a location of body identification, and consciousness is forever whispering to us or shouting loudly. It shouts so loudly in physical symptoms, but because no one's ever really expressed this stuff, we like, oh, I'm just, so I've got to fix the body. And like, what happened for me the day before my 50th birthday is I was, my husband and I, co-founders of the Teachers of God Foundation in 2012. And it was just us at the time. And I created the 40-day program for transformation. I was sort of the face and the teacher because we just got started. It was just like this little thing, that we were like, oh, let's create a foundation for people to be inspired and encouraged and supported in awakening. And so I took on a lot of stuff with that. I felt responsible for the 80,000 people that took the 40-day program. And I felt guilty all day long because let's say I'd answer 300 messages a day. I was on Facebook. I was really trying to be there for everyone. And I'd miss 20 messages. I'd go to bed feeling guilty for the 20 I didn't like respond to. So it was like this total wake up in the morning and feel like I don't like this. Like, and I was fixing like website links that were, I was doing everything. Bill and I were like doing everything back then. And I felt like I had to. I just felt like I got to keep doing this, even though like in my mind, it's like, this isn't it. You can relax. And I kept pushing. And the day before my 50th birthday, I said to Bill, I want to leave the foundation. And he's like, okay, we're going to make it happen. And I'm still there, like, I have nothing to do with any of and it's grown into this beautiful thing now, the Center for Awakening. And it's now, there's all sorts of support there for people. And it grew so much bigger when I got out of the way. But I left that job. I left the salary, the whole thing. I was just like, I knew this was the gift I was going to give myself. And that's a scary space because I was like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do for money. I don't know. But I had to trust in that. I trusted in it. And Bill was there supporting it. He was just like, okay, it's okay. It was a transition to kind of make that happen, but we did it, and more new people came in. And so it's not just like a head game. It really requires us to move into looking at where am I doing things I don't want to be doing? And what am I not doing that I want to be doing? And how am I holding these relationships together because of fear? And how am I people pleasing? And how am I? And I got criticized by many people in A Course in Miracles community when I started doing this in 2018, because they were like, oh, you're being worldly. Oh, you're forgetting Jesus. Oh, and I love Jesus. I mean, I got Jesus all over my office. I mean, but I no longer think he's someone out there that can help me. I realize I'm Jesus. I am Christ. You are Christ. We are the Christ. that man, Jesus, that connected to this Christ consciousness is what's the awakening right now. And this is the second coming. Mm-hmm. So now I am back to A Course in Miracles, but not as like I need it anymore. But I love the teaching. You know, so my teachings and my work in the world now is sort of an integration of a whole bunch of different things that have worked for me to really come into a place of, so like when you, with head stuff, it probably has to do with expression. It probably has to do with fear of authenticity. It has to do with, so we can use the body as the symbol, as the, like, okay, like looking under a car. Oh, it's the engine. Oh, it's the gas. Oh, it's the, you can look and say, oh, yeah, probably fear of speaking, probably fear of whatever. I'll be judged. I'll be criticized.
Yeah, like about 6 years ago, I wrote a book and it was like channeled, most of it. I mean, the creative part was more coming from myself, but otherwise it was like really channeling. And then it got just stuck in the computer and I didn't do anything with it. And I got nudges. You need to do something, you need to, I mean, but it's like, I know there is a specific fear from expressing myself, from being out there, from stop hiding, from, yeah, you said right, expressing, yeah. And yeah, and the other thing is like I feel like I felt like when you said that we are Jesus, it felt really strong. Like I always felt like there was a gap in me because I was spiritual from a very young age. There was a gap. There was like the small me and the spirit me, and the big me. And now it kind of feels less. But years ago, I used to have like very strong spiritual experiences when I was like in my 20s. And at the same time, as I said, emotionally, I was like, I had food disorders. I had like emotional stuff. Like the small me was totally out of connection.
Yeah.
And it's like I was wondering, how do I unite them? And like what you're saying feels like that. Feels like that sort of.
They're already united. So and that's one of the complicated things with the Course in Miracles teachings, where it's Course in Miracles itself is, I don't know how to say it. Like it's the teachers that are kind of picked it up that kind of make it all complicated, I think, where there is only wholeness. There is only God. There's in A Course in Miracles, there's this idea that there's an ego and that there's the spirit and they're separate. And it kind of says that in the Course, but then it doesn't say it. But we all go like, oh, there's the small me and there's this other part and the ego's not real. So we still have this idea of duality. What happens when you live here as the wholeness that you are, the authenticity, the lovability, the pure expression, childlike wonder, not trying to, you don't have to have anything perfect anymore, just you expressing this, which is this, dissolves into this. So it's not that this isn't real. This is this, but it actually dissolves. The ego, body, mind, becomes pure consciousness as it always is. And so that's where, like, when you stop identifying so much with the small self, I'm so worried and I'm so afraid and you leave it alone. It's like, well, and love it. Like I'm doing a workshop this weekend called Healing with Love. And many people hate the ego. They hate the body. They hate the small self. That is not helpful, because this is this, like this body self is pure consciousness. It is the light of God. So when we hate, we're identified with this hatred and we keep the hatred in place, we keep the agitation in place, and the body reflects what the mind is doing. When we start to be the love that we are, and we love the body, we love the food addictions, we love the sickness, we love the pain, we see what arises when we love the body, and I don't like the body. Okay, that just came up. Like, the more that we can really say all is well, and then watch the mind go, all is not well. If you were to say all is perfect, I am healed, you would bring up everything that needs to be dissolved into this. Like, so it's such a fascinating, like, subject to me, because it's life changing. Like, my life and where I am right now, and the strength and the health and the vitality and the joy and the peace that I experience daily is not, I didn't get that from a book. But again, like, life doesn't stop, there's still stuff that comes up that's going to be like, okay, but you're present for it and it doesn't disturb you anymore. You're just there, so present for all the players involved and you. And I'm grateful, Anna, for you to have me on this call, because it's my joy to express these things. And thank you so much, Angelina. I hope I see you again.
Thank you. And I joined Bill's new book club. So that's a lot of fun as well.
Yeah.
Gospel of Thomas.
Thank you.
Thank you, Angelina. And we are on the top of the hour. So, Lisa, how can we have more of you and your teachings?
Well, I have a website, lisanatoli.com, and I've been doing this year, I do a Q&A call the last Wednesday of every month called Live with Lisa. And then I do a once a month workshop, and that's this weekend. It's April 20 and 21st. And I want to have people have a space where they can really experiment with these kinds of things, with guided meditation and abiding as the stillness and the presence. And then I've got the courses I've done. The Healing Cure is kind of my main program that I did coming out of this one. Thank you so much. And hey, it looks like I'm coming to Sweden.
You are.
It looks like it, in 2025, and Denmark.
Yeah. It's
I don't know what it's
10 years since you were here or something.
I have 4 places to stay.
Ah, wonderful.
And that poster, you put it up there. You posted that one photo on Facebook, and all of a sudden I got 4 invitations to come back.
There you go.
So I'm sure I'll see you soon.
Yes. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank you so much.
This was wonderful. lisanatoli.com. I will put it together with the recording. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you guys for being here. Mwah.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
I love seeing everybody. Hey, where do you live, Anna?
I live in the north, I live in Umeå. Yeah.
What's it called?
Umeå.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that what's the major city there in Sweden, up there in the north?
So Umeå is one of the major cities up in the north.
What is it?
Umeå.
Okay, but what's the major one where the royal palace is?
Oh, that's in the middle of Sweden. That's Stockholm. That's our capital.
Stockholm, right? Okay, so you're north of there. Oh, I see.
Yeah, with car, I'm like 6 hours north.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's like being here and like living near Canada.
Yes, it is.
Right.
Yeah, that's very similar, actually, our climate. We still have snow here. So when you had snowstorm, I mean, we had snowstorm here as well.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me on. I love you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Mwah.
Bye-bye.